Alright, so over here, I'm just going to drag all these items over here. Whoops. And as I said, this one I might not even have to do anything to it. Maybe move this hand. Again, it's all about even a little bit though, so let's see if I can move some of these down. Maybe there's a lot of space here, so maybe I could fit a couple of these on the outside edge here. If you're going to do any Photoshop work with your UVs, keep in mind that sometimes, you know, grouping these together, like this is a hand over here, this is a foot over here, that might be a smart thing to do. That way you're not hunting around trying to figure out what part is what. These UVs subdivide, so you know there's no real indication of a face here yet, but there will be. Okay. Let's see if I could scale up a little bit. There's a little trick here because I moved it so close to the other shells. So I'm going to have to manually just grab a hold of these. My desk is only so big, and the transversing of that all the way around would be hard. Scale. Okay, so I squeezed a few pixels in there. Okay, now we're going to be making auto groups back in ZBrush. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stack these on top of the same shell. Now there's multiple UV sets, they're called, that technically I can get away with putting this over here and it would work, but I will tell you from experience that the multiple UV sets, if you're planning on doing anything with the mesh or a character afterwards, it's a painful painful process of moving them back over to the first UV quadrant, because not every program understands the other UV quadrants. So this is one UV quadrant, but certainly there's an infinite amount of these based upon if you know algebra, 0 to 1, -1 to 1, -1 to 0, as you can pan out forever and place these right next to each other. But again, if you ever run into multiple UV sets, or look them up on the internet to kind of see what I'm talking about, they are a painful thing in some programs. Not every program understands multiple UV sets. So rather than that, I'm going to stack these right on top of the other ones, and we're going to separate this big, huge mess in ZBrush. Alright, so we are done. What I'm going to do is now make sure my entire character is highlighted. File, export wavefront object. I'm gonna name this finished. And export that out. Okay, on this one, I don't have to do much because the very important one was when I imported in, I had to make sure I clamped my scale down, okay, to 0 because I want to rely on ZBrush scale. This one's not too bad. I'm going to uncheck NURBS and keep everything else the same. Then what I do, I go into ZBrush, and in the next video I'll do this because I want to separate. This is a wholly different idea. So let me go and stop this right now, and we'll call this the last UV set, and this would be the importing phase.